With the recent merger between Six Flags and Cedar Fair, the potential for innovative attractions at Kings Island is immense. Hello, everyone. Alongside the steadfast Ryan Sir, I'm Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is a podcast by Kings Island fans for Kings Island fans, because that's who we are and that's who we care about. So, Don, this whole episode, and this is, I think, a first for us, is based off of an idea that you had that you wrote a blog about. Tell us about the blog.
All hypothetical.
Oh, exactly.
But I wrote a piece on theme parks by Don, and in this piece, I proposed repurposing the building that once housed the crypt for a thrilling new experience, a Vekoma Madhouse attraction themed around DC Comics, the Joker. Does it fit the idea for Rivertown? Does this idea fit? No. And a lot of people brought that up to me that it wouldn't fit Rivertown, but did Tomb Raider the ride fit Rivertown? No, it didn't. So I'm just going with an idea, some idea that you could, use to repurpose that building.
Yeah. So why don't you just brief us on your idea of what the vision you had, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take a ride on this concept, because I was able to mock it up in 3D. And what we'll do is, so you tell me what your thoughts with it. We'll see how good of an impression that I did, like creating your vision. And then we're going to look for your feedback, the listener. We want your feedback as to different ideas that you have that could be thrown into this madhouse. And we'll try to create like the perfect madhouse ride based on the Joker. But Don, go ahead. Tell us about your idea.
Have you ever experienced a madhouse attraction first, Ryan, before I go into it?
I'm familiar with them. I have not. I want to so badly.
Okay, so imagine stepping into the dark and, foreboding world of the Arkham Asylum. That's Gotham City's infamous psychiatric hospital. So the exterior of the building could be transformed to resemble the eerie facade of the asylum, while the interior would be haunting hallways, cells, and chaotic scenes created by the Joker's madness. So that would be kind of the setting. The storyline would be an integral part of the experience. Guests would be caught in the middle of the Joker taking over the Arkham Asylum and turning it into his personal playground of chaos. Batman then enlists the help of the guests to restore order and capture the Joker, adding urgency and excitement to the mission. And then you're going to have your special effects. So to truly capture the essence of the Joker's madness, you'd use like dynamic lighting effects, eerie projections, and unsettling soundscapes.
Cool. Yeah. So that's a very good idea. For those who do not know what a madhouse is, basically you sit in it and you're inside like a giant tin can. Think of it that way.
And you got to have a pre-show elements, right? So you'd have those too.
So the giant tin can is about the size of a room, and the gimmick is that it spins. So there might be props attached to it, but it's always like something mystical about it, or not necessarily scary, but thrilling and that sort of stuff. But let's go ahead with it. I created a mock-up of it, of what I think that a Joker Madhouse would look like based on your description. It's got a ways to go, but this is a good start. And I want everybody in the comments down below to let us know what your thoughts on it are. And if you were going to have any ideas for what to add, sky's the limit with that stuff, then what it would be. So without further ado, take a ride on the Joker's Madhouse. There you have it. So that's my impression. Don, what are your thoughts on that? I'm not going to ask you if it's good or not, but was it anywhere within what you envisioned for
Yeah,
the
it
ride
has.
look like?
Yeah, it does. Have a lot of what I was thinking about. After you go through the pre-show, the ride experience, that once you're inside the madhouse, guests would experience the erratic movements and unexpected shifts, simulating the chaos the Joker brings. So I think you captured that there. The ride would be designed to mimic those high-stake chases and confrontations. You'd have those synchronized motion, visual effects. You'd have that sense of disorientation, the sense of danger. I think you captured that with what you created there. Uh, you didn't have the encounter of the Joker and his henchmen. You didn't bring in the other henchmen into it, but I don't think you needed to there. But you have those, the Joker's taunts, his laughter. That heightens the excitement and the immersion of the experience. So you were able to incorporate that into it. Creepy, unsettling music. You hit on that. So yeah, I think you definitely captured the action packed experience that this ride would deliver.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's my ignorance, but I didn't have a vision in my head for the Joker's henchmen, what they would look like, what they would do, and that's probably because I haven't really seen any of the modern Batman films. But that being said, we want to hear your feedback. Let's make this a community build. Let's make this a project,
Yeah.
and we'll have the most crazy madhouse ever that
Well,
all
what
of
I
you guys help contribute to.
now I've since the Crypt was retired, I've always been thinking what could be done in that building, and then in November when it was announced that Six Flags and Cedar Fair were going to be merging, and that they have the IP there with the DC Comics. Maybe they're going to want to do something with that. At Kings Island. Here you have a building that's perfectly suited to put an attraction like that in there. There's not a lot of madhouses around in the United States. It would be something that would be unique to Kings Island. I think it would be something that would definitely draw guests who normally wouldn't have made a visit to Kings Island to experience this. The Joker, well-known, character in the DC Comics world. I think that would appeal to guests. After the blog was published, I did get, as I mentioned at the top, some I like the idea, but would never work at Kings Island. Doesn't fit Rivertown. Well, what Rivertown was when the park opened in 1972, what it is today, I mean, it's just a shadow of what it was. It's basically a name on a park map anymore. And when Tomb Raider, the ride, was introduced, that certainly did not, fit Rivertown. The Crypt did not fit Rivertown. So while I appreciate that kind of thought that it doesn't fit Rivertown, nothing fits Rivertown anymore. So I think this would be something that would utilize the IP. I think it would be, a really, different type of experience, something that nobody, in at least this part of the region, unless you travel all over the place, if you're, basically you've gone to Kings Island, maybe Cedar Point, you've never experienced anything like this.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing though is when it comes to the theme, I never thought that Tomb Raider was this big atrocity in Rivertown because visually it kind of blends in being a cave,
The building did, yeah, but the experience, what the ride was.
The theme doesn't match, but you can like, why not have it so the Joker is create his own insane asylum in the woods or whatever, and then you could you could put the setting anywhere you want. The Joker's asylum next to the river. There you go, Rivertown.
Now, if you're going to comment, take out the fact that it's in Rivertown. But do you like the idea of a madhouse in that building? I mean, building a madhouse from scratch would be, pretty expensive, but you've already got a big part of it done with the building.
Right.
So
and it could be one of the biggest madhouses too, because that building's like 8 stories tall or something. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that the other ones are all that tall. So you could make something very, very special where most of the cost of it is sunk anyway. Yeah. And on top of it, you even you could even make it extraordinary because it's built for a pre-show and it's built to have that indoor section. Like, I mean, it writes itself, and you could have, you know, a 30-35 million dollar attraction for 15, 20 maybe at this point. So
Yeah, I had months to think about it, you know, starting in November, and saw what the opportunities could be with the different IPs, and I kept going back to what could go in that building, and I thought, well, you know, this was just an idea. Again, hypothetical, you know, it's nothing that's on the board, nothing they're going to do. It's just all in fun, just something to write about, and just kind of, you know, if it was up to me, here's what I would do with it, kind of a thing.
yeah. So Don, you're pretty good at coming up with concepts for like dark ride, fun houses, madhouses, stuff like that. But does that translate to fashion? And if so, what kind of shirt would you recommend?
Well, I think the best shirt to wear if you're going through a madhouse at Kings Island would be a Tower Topics t-shirt. I'm wearing one right now if you're watching on YouTube. It comes in a North Carolina blue, comes in any size that you would need. They're just $22. It includes shipping. So if you're a fan of the show and you want one, just send us a direct message on our X account, which is Tower_Topics, and we'll send you the QR code to make the purchase through Venmo. And once we have your size and your shipping address, it only takes a matter of days to get the shirt to you, and very comfortable shirt. Ryan, you did a fantastic job in designing the logo for this shirt, and yeah, it's a great way to show your support for the show.
Yeah, we love seeing him around the park. We really appreciate the support. I mean, you don't have to buy his shirt. We just appreciate you.
Just listen, just watch. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, so I really appreciate it. But we'll be back with the listener questions right after this. All right, first listener question, Doug M. from Loveland, Ohio. Did the Quad Down Pod ever accept the challenge of Ryan against Taylor in a game of Skee-Ball?
No, it did not.
They didn't reply. So what's funny about that is was it opening day of the park or preview day or something?
I think it was opening weekend, opening day. That's, you know, the Saturday. I think it was that we were talking about.
You text me. You're like, "Are you good at Skee-Ball?" Text you back like, "Yeah, I mean, I can hold my own. I'm not particularly good." And then you just send me a link to the tweet of me challenging Taylor.
You know what I mean? From what I understood, you know, Taylor from the Quad Down Pod, you know, like the game of Skee-Ball, and I thought it would just be a fun way to have the two podcasts, you know, just kind of have a little interaction with each other, build a little camaraderie there. But you know, we didn't get any kind of response for it. But I will say this, Taylor, if you're listening to this podcast, I would have rooted for you.
And Taylor, I know that you have a little bit of a trust issue with Don. He would have rooted for you. Just trust me on this one. Trust me. He would have rooted for you over me any day of the week. But yeah, I mean, all in good fun. Hopefully they saw it that way too. But again, there was no response. But there's opening day next year. We're gonna do air hockey. I almost said table tennis. I wouldn't challenge anybody to table tennis. I'm not very good at that. But maybe opening day we'll do the 4-person air hockey. 2 of the quad down pod people versus the 2 of us. That would be a good way to settle.
I am very competitive, very intense when it comes to playing games. So just know that if that is something that you would be interested in.
Yeah. Okay. Next listener question from Candy B, Oakley, Ohio. My kids and I love Grand Carnival. I'm hearing it's the last year for it. Please tell me it's not true. Candy B, it's not true. I'm not sure if that's true, but you asked us to say that.
I always like when, you know, people say, I'm hearing. Well, where are you hearing it from? You know, you're hearing it from, you know, somebody in an official capacity at Kings Island. You're hearing it from the general manager. You're hearing it from, you know, the head of entertainment. I mean, where are people hearing it from? So I don't know. I mean, it's been a great event for the park. I hope it's there for the long run. I think it fits that part of the year where they have it on the calendar for a couple of weeks. You know, I like it. I hope it doesn't go away.
I hope so too. So I've heard this rumor as well, but I think that it's less of a rumor and more in speculation because the merger just happened, so things change. But one argument is that, it's established, people know what it is, they continue to go to it and so on. But on the contrary, now you've got like 20 more dry parks where this event would be new and fresh and exciting. So logic would dictate that sooner than later, you take all those floats and all those assets that you built for this and you move it to Six Flags, New Jersey, or wherever, and you try something new with the legacy Cedar Fair parks.
Yeah, and then maybe there's some events that those parks have done too that I've seen.
Mhm.
Maybe you could try those at Kings Island.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm saying like there's a better chance than ever that Carnival will be at different parks because there are more parks. But there's nothing that we have heard that indicates that it's not coming back. But at the same time, I doubt that decision is chiseled in stone at this point. They probably don't know what the entertainment lineup's going to be next year. Don, when you were at the park, like, I guess it was a little bit different because times are different now, but did they know like one year that, okay, next year we're doing Carnival? Or was it kind of like, okay, let's lay out our events like in January? Like when did you know that it was definitely coming back?
Well, I mean, we knew when the event was first, announced that it was something that it was hoped that it would be sustainable and it would be an annual type of event. Something. You look at the Disney and Universal parks where they have those same events year after year. Dollywood has same events year after year. So you were hoping to have some kind of an event that could stick and have longevity to it, that everybody would want to come back. And there would be that urgency because it only has, like a 2-week run or maybe a 3-week run. So you have to come during that period of the year. So that was always the thought process. So it kicked off in 2019, was going to come back in 2020, but they had COVID, so they could not do it. Brought it back in 2021. But then in 2022, you had the 50th anniversary. So you had to kind of do a celebration around that because the whole year was a celebration for the 50th. So you knew that year it would take a year off, but then it came back again in 2023. And now here we are, 2024. So it was designed, the idea of it was, with longevity in mind.
Well, but let's not forget the fact that I mean, I don't know if it's true now, but at least especially the first couple of years, it's the moment that parade was done, those were on a trailer going to another park. So the whole infrastructure was built in a manner in which they could transport it.
They can move it around right there.
They did a ton to build out the infrastructure at Kings Island to have that event, to have the parade and the zone sound and all that stuff. So they may not have that. It may take a while for that to come to the Six Flags parks. But I will tell you this. I mean, we all love Grand Carnival, but Candy, if they don't have Grand Carnival, there's going to be something with a similar scope around that time of year because it's a business, not a charity. They don't do Grand Carnival just because you and your kids love it. That's definitely in the business plan, but that's not the only reason. They need exposure for that midsummer, dry period or whatever. So if they didn't do Grand Carnival, they would do something similar, probably with a parade. They seem to like parades, unique entertainment, almost certainly food, whatever. We're not here to speculate as to what would replace it, but rest assured, Candy, I think if any park is going to keep Carnival, it would be Kings Island.
What I like about it, it's theirs. It's associated with Kings Island. It's something that, when you say Grand Carnival, you think Kings Island. Mm-hmm. So I hope it's around for the long run. But you don't know. I mean, you just never know.
You don't. But you know what? Just don't think about things in that way. Even if that's the plan now, it may not be the plan 2 weeks from now and so on. You know how things go. But just enjoy it. And Candy, if you attend Grand Carnival, which it looks like you will, shoot us a comment. Let us know how you enjoy it and what your favorite part is. So we appreciate the listener question. But hey, I'm Ryan Sir along with Don Helbig. This is Tower Topics.